We'll see. There we go. All right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. Those that are here, I do see Tim in the house. Glock 30. Appreciate you for being here. Matthew Isme. Thanks for being here. I was like, it always takes a second for this thing to catch up. So, check it and see how bad the lag is on it. Comes in straight with the all right. Yep, we're only about 30 seconds behind on lag. So. Joe Deals, thanks for coming in, bro. Glad to have you, as always. Hey, Joey Bada Bing in the house. Appreciate you coming in, bro. Man, I know he's been going like crazy. Sir Knock, for coming, man. Always appreciated. Sir Knock, one of them hardworking dudes out here. I don't know if you guys have seen his stuff. Y'all here for his interview when he talked about, he's like the hat man for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim, I'm going to get into it about Sam. He's got some stuff going on. So we'll talk about that here shortly. Yeah. Well, man, we are so thankful to have Brandon and Amber with us tonight. And, I got the privilege to hang out with these guys a little bit and partake of some of that fine barbecue that Brandon makes. I don't think I've seen Colton in here yet, but we'll definitely give him some ribbon when he comes in because his brother beat him on his own grill. That's pretty badass.
I warned him it was going to happen.
We do think that's pretty cool. Old School Flips, Jimmy, thanks for coming in. Glitch in the Matrix. Glad to have you, man. Appreciate you for being here. Hey, Calvin in the house with the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man, Calvin, we'll have to reach out to you. I know you've been taking a break on the YouTube games, getting into more of the listing and all that kind of stuff, trying to get that eBay rolling. I get that for sure. But I appreciate you coming in and hanging out. So like I was saying, we got Brandon and Amber in the house. I do want to just go ahead and kind of talk just for a second about Sam. Sam actually gave me a call probably about 30, 40 minutes ago, and he's got some stuff going on with his family that they're dealing with. Those of you guys that may have watched, sorry, no COVID, just a frog. As you guys may have watched one of Sam's lives recently, they've had some stuff going on in their family. They're still dealing with some of that stuff. Just to give you a heads up, Ezra is good. His wife, Christina's good. It's nothing to do with the two of them, but there is some stuff in their family, and he had some last minute stuff had to come up and had came up. He may be popping in the chat at some point, but if you guys are praying folk, then just be praying for their family. They have some internal stuff going on that they just need to take care of. Nothing super major, like as far as, like I said, his immediate family's in good shape. So just lift them up if you would. We do, man, I would be lost in here without Sam on the regular because he, takes care of all the technical, the backside of this thing. So I'll be pulling double duty tonight, and we'll see if we can't do it right. We don't want to detract from our guests, though. We do thank you guys for being here, Smoking Flips, Brandon and Amber. So we're turning things over to them, let them kind of talk a little bit about, who they are and how they got into this whole thing. And then we'll just, as always, if you have questions, put your questions in the chat. You'll put them in super capitalization. That would help me out because we, like I said, I'm bad about getting focused in on the guests and not looking as much at the chat. So I appreciate you guys helping me out. Brandon, Amber?
So I got started reselling back several years ago, like 15 years ago. I did it just a little bit here and there. I went to the Army and took a break from it for a while. And after I got out of the Army, I went to college full time and found myself with a few hours between classes. So I've just stuck around town, hanging out, So I went to some thrift stores, started picking up some stuff, and ended up paying pretty much all of our bills while I was going through college, just on reselling at that time. I got my full-time job after I graduated, so I took another break from reselling. I ended up here in Indiana from Alabama, and just about a year ago now, I started back reselling because of my brother Colton. He had been doing it full time, been at me to doing it. Have a very expensive hobby of barbecuing. I always buying smokers and stuff, so I initially got back into reselling so I could buy me more grills, not getting grabbed at. Plus, I like to eat steak a lot. That's what got me back into it. I got brought onto the YouTube side by Colton. Never really watched any YouTubers before he started his channel, to be honest, and started watching him every day, and then started branching out to other resellers. And next thing I know, I've got a channel. So
there you go.
That's where we're at now.
There you go. Yeah, that's man, it's funny. It sounded to me like Colton rips you into all kinds of stuff.
Oh, he does.
He's probably been doing that for a long time.
Good and the bad.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I had a couple more people pop in. SSK Promo, Mr. Bill. Ken is really his name. I've always called him Mr. Bill. He used to have Mr. Bill as his screen thumbnail. So I've always said that. Danica Lady Luck Junk, thanks for coming in. So guys, obviously with having Colton as a reseller, and like you said, he kind of encouraged you with getting back in it. Maybe it's that brotherly competition. I know I've seen that firsthand when we were at the 411 together. But so when you were reselling the first time around, I mean, what are some things that have changed from way back 15 years ago? Were you doing eBay and stuff then, or were you doing something else?
I was doing eBay then. It was actually when I was a teenager. I was worked at a flea market. Me and Colton both did, and people would in their booths at the end of the week. We were the ones that build the sheds and stuff. Candyman mowed the grass and stuff. And the owner of the flea market told us anything we found during the week was fair game. We could keep it. And I was out there one day, I found a box full of, just a case full of Gillette Mach 3 razor heads, all still brand new still. I'm like, that's got to be worth some money. So that's what actually got me on the eBay. I started posting them, and they were selling bam, bam, bam. And then pretty much anything I found through then, I would take and sell on eBay and make pretty good money, pay for my gas and everything as a teenager.
Yeah, so as far as like posting on the site and stuff like that, like 15 years ago, I mean, a lot different format, right?
It's completely different. 15 years ago, there were no smartphones.
Yeah.
So, it was all, had like a 2 megapixel digital camera I'd take pictures on that were so blurry you really couldn't even see what it was when it was on the screen. And then having to do everything by computer back then. So it's definitely a lot more. Yeah, we did.
Go. Yeah.
It was fast.
Those ears are burning. But yeah, I know, like, it's crazy. I've talked to some of the OGs that have been doing this for a long time, man. And those guys are talking about like waiting on a money order and like getting cash and all this stuff. I was like, that's crazy. To think that, hey, back in the day, like they're like, yeah, we just go on and mail it out. Like they said they'd send the checks in the mail, that kind of stuff. I was like, it's kind of crazy to think that that's how things operate.
Was when PayPal started kicking in. So I only got like money orders when I first started, and then after that it started becoming PayPal. It was PayPal only. So that part, luckily, I missed the first part of that.
It's crazy, man. The other day I was listing, I do the Tuesday listing challenge, and it's really a challenge for myself, but a lot of people come in and list as well. But man, I was in there listing the other day, and for some reason it kept glitching I list everything on the phone pretty much myself, and it kept glitching, asking for either a money order as an option, or I was like, why does it keep like going to money order, like asking me to do that? But I figured it out after a little while. I was like, it was a certain way that I would punch it in. But, yeah, I was like, we're reverting back to the old days.
Mm-hmm.
So we always ask, like you said, obviously you served in the Army, which we appreciate that and appreciate you guys' service. I know that, that's not the easiest thing to do. And obviously the travel involved in that, going overseas and dealing with all that kind of stuff from time to time. But, we always ask the guys that are in the military, are there things that you learned in military that may have helped you down the road with reselling? Like,
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, yeah. that's a tough thing.
We always talk, I've thought, and which, honestly, it's probably one of the harder things to do is when you work for yourself about having any kind of routine or regiment. Like, for me, I know it's something that's needed. Like I need to list consistently to be effective. But, when you work for yourself, the other side of that coin is, dude, there's the recliner, there's the TV, there's the, 50 million other distractions that can keep you from doing that. Involved, but we always ask about the military thing. Glock 30 Tim has a question. How are you liking Indiana as compared to Alabama? Have you picked up local allegiance to IU or Purdue? I know that because I saw a picture of with
that. I like the wintertime in Indiana or the summertime in Indiana. I like the wintertime in Alabama.
Yeah.
Man, us shoveling snow. We've got a teenager now that he'll get out there and shovel it for me. Cuts the grass and everything through summer, so I'm out of that game for now. But
there you go.
There for the first 3 or 4 years we lived up here. Every time it snowed, I was out there with a shovel. So I wasn't too big about that, but overall, I like Indiana a lot.
The people's worse than Indiana. Alabama people are 500 times nicer than people in Indiana. So.
As far as local allegiance, my allegiance will always lie with Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
These other schools up here really don't matter. I mean,
yeah, it is one of those things. I'm wearing my Carolina stuff, but I'm kind of on both sides of the fence. I grew up in Florida. My parents are from one's from Florida, one's from here. So it's weird. I've always liked Carolina basketball and Miami football. Like that's kind of where when I grew up, like a half breed, but one of those things. But a few more people have dropped in the chat. We want to recognize. Obviously, Colton's here, and it's obviously come in and make sure you say nothing bad about him. But Sal, thank you for coming in, man. Sal, you guys if you don't know Sal, he's the take gun guy, man. He makes all these custom take guns. He sent me one. That thing was awesome. I'm still using that every day. Houston Reseller, we thank you for coming in. And Brian Triflipper, he's a fellow Tar Heel in here with us. Drifter Thrifters, man, you must be up in the middle of the night. What time's it in Australia today? That's where Nate's from, is Drifter Thrifters, if you don't know. Colton said he can see your breath when you're talking now, Brandon.
Hey, Colton's a wimp, okay? I leave my house between 65 and 68 degrees, depending on the time of the year. Wintertime, I run it at 65 just to conserve energy a little bit. And the entire time he was here, he did nothing but complain about how cold it was.
Yeah, he said it in his video a few times. I watched the latest movie Colton put out there. And
I mean, in there on the bed, he had like 5 different blankets, a sleeping bag, all types of stuff huddled up like an Eskimo in there at 65 degrees.
There you go. Yeah, I can't ever keep those time zones straight. Drifter said it's only 10 a.m. Like tomorrow. That's where he's at. He's already a day ahead of us. Man, it is I'm one of those people. I like to keep the house cold too. My dad, it's funny when we were younger, I never understood why the house was always cold. When I got a little older, he kind of let me in on the secret. He said, buddy, you turn that air down, them kids get under that cover. It's time to go to bed. I was like, that's pretty funny. I would have never thought of that. He said, one of those
I look at it, people can always put on more clothes, but I can only take off so many before the neighbors call the police when I walk by the
Yeah, there ain't no doubt. I'm in that same boat. I'm in that same boat. I'd rather be cold than hot any day of the week. That's for sure. That is for sure. So I know you guys do this thing as far as reselling together, because I know Amber working on the Macari side, and you obviously got the eBay thing going. So how did Amber? Did he have to rope you into all that stuff, or you kind of just started watching it and kind of, got the bug? You two kept it on that trail.
Yeah, I started watching Colton just for family support, and then started watching other YouTubers. But when I joined Macari, I was mainly just joining to sell Caroline's clothes because I have a 14-year-old boy, an 8-year-old boy. So when we had a girl, I went hog wild with clothes, and so did family. So I could flip outfits. Like, it's weird. Girl clothes, you can buy an outfit, but you can sell it for double than what you paid for it brand new for people, just because girl moms are crazy and they'll spend whatever on clothes sometimes. I'm not one of those. So I just started doing that, and then we started going to Goodwills, and I was like, well, I'll pick this up. I know that'll sell on Macari, and that's how it started. It started out pretty slow for me.
Yeah.
It really started out with me buying stuff, and cluttering out the house, and her griping at me every day. And then eventually she just said, if I can't beat him, I'm going to join him.
There you go.
Y'all seen my garage on Colton's video. What he didn't show you is my death pile inside the house, inside the minivan, closets, everywhere.
Yeah, I can't even go on a weekly grocery trip and get like everything I need for the week because there's not room in a minivan for the right now. So yeah, the death pile in the minivan's bad.
I'm kind of listening out. My wife must be all the way in the other back bedroom watching this, because otherwise I'd have done heard some. I would have done heard an amen. I've got this shed, I've got that big shed, but I continue to spill into the house. And I told her, I said, honey, if I get that shed, I'm gonna get everything out there. We'll be good. But I was like, man, it somehow or another it starts to explode, right? The more you go out. But
yeah, I was fine all the way up until the COVID restriction lifted, and then I just went hog wild. I was buying pallets, I was buying entire yard sales up, and then it just exploded.
Here we got Tim with another question. What do you love to sell? Do you guys have preferences on things?
I hate to sell breakables. Anything that can break, I don't like selling those. But then anything else, I'm open to selling.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of selling things that break as well. I have sold them. I've got things to sell that are breakable. Probably my favorite thing to sell is anything with a barcode that I can scan and list really easily, and they'll fit in a bubble mailer.
There you go. Yeah, I'm always like that too. Like I think along the same lines a lot of times. It's like, and you don't want to deal with, that and stuff that's hard to pack. Like if it's something that's hard to pack, I'm like, man, it's got to have better if it's hard to pack.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I mean, if you got breakables that you got to into like a rubber ball to keep from messing up, so much bubble wrap on it. But but I always think in terms of profit, like if it's stuff that I can turn quickly for a good profit, then I don't mind it. But I'll sell just about everything. There's some moral things that I won't sell, like moral issues myself personally. My own convictions, I don't put that on anybody else, but there's certain things that I don't mess with. I'll just usually get
same way.
But yeah, we're crazy.
If it's something I don't want my kids to see on my video of me saying what sold, I won't list it. I won't even deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of that double-edged stuff. Like, I mean, I've actually found some stuff that was pretty valuable, but I was like, bro, I'm not messing with that. Like, I mean, I can't put it up there. I wouldn't want to, do that. But it does. Colton said, hey, Caroline. He's coming too as well. But, yeah, I feel the same way about a lot of that stuff. Are there things that you like? Obviously, by that being said, are there things that you guys don't really like to list?
I don't like to list clothing, which is why I've given all that to her on Macari.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't mind listing clothing. Most people don't ask for measurements when they buy. The only thing I probably, and this is going to sound really weird, size 3 boy shoes. I listed some Converse, and size 3 in boys, apparently size 5 women can wear those too. They convert to that size. So you get a lot of questions with, they kind of look, are these 6s or 5s, and questions like that. So then you have to go measure an actual shoe for somebody. So that size 3s are annoying to list.
It's crazy. You know, I look at that stuff too with clothing. I've listed some stuff, and the clothing, I do get more questions. Like I found some vintage jeans, like vintage Jordache that were like 80s. Like when I was in high school, I remember girls wearing those same jeans, the Jordache with the horses on them.
Yeah.
Like, this is the old Jordache, not the, everything recycles, and now they cycle through Walmart. But back in the day, they were kind of expensive. And so those things, like I did my basic measurements on them, but they still come back and they're like, hey, can you go so far down on the leg and give me the measurement there? I'm like, come on. Or like the ones I have are unhemmed. So I put that, it's in the listing. Hey, can you tell me what the inseam is? They're unhemmed. The inseam's whatever you want it to be, unless your leg's like 38. But, yeah. Oh man. Tim said there's size 3 boys. You want them or not?
I was like, per the conversion chart on Converse's website, it says a 5. They're like, yeah, but the picture kind of makes them look a little bit big. And I was like, well, maybe it's an angle. So then I went and just got a ruler and took pictures with a ruler. Then I just blocked the girl. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fool with you. And
sometimes I just don't respond because you think of that stuff too. It's like, man, I mean, because I've had people ask me multiple questions. And I'm all for customer service. I don't mind it. But I was like, then you begin to think, I said, man, if this joker's this annoying now, they ain't even bought it yet. I was like, what are they going to do when they get it? They're going to be like, hey, one of those things. One of those things. But yeah, we have people popping in. Ricky T, thanks for coming in. And Louie, Lone Star Picker, thank you. Thank you for being in here. Yeah. Hey, I did hear the other day in Colton's video that apparently you guys have been training young Tanner up pretty good about sourcing at the yard sale. I heard him come right out of the gate with, hey, you got any video games? I was like,
yeah, he'll yell it from the car sometimes. Yeah.
Does he get is he able to get the deal? There you go. Yeah, and I'm sure too. Like, what's crazy is sometimes kids, man, like people are more apt to be like, "Oh, here you are," like when they something.
And I played dirty with Colton a little bit. Colton would ask about video games, and Tanner would ask. So of course they're going to let the little kid look before they let the grown man. So that's last weekend that way.
There you go. Sometimes you're able to get a little bit more. That's for sure. That is for sure. So, as far as you guys with, do you find the sourcing different up there where you're at now than where you were at in Alabama?
Yes. Way better.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up with my garage full of stuff.
Yeah.
Even down there on the 411, I was telling Colton that was pretty much just a normal Saturday up here for the amount of sales I was hitting.
Yeah, it's crazy how different it is every place that you go. And it's one of the things I really like about reselling myself and picking is you look and you say, man, there's certain places you can go that it's just like, man, it's all here. It's like everything that I never see, like you go to a different area and all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah.
But For me, I drive a good bit because we're not really close to anything. But it's crazy. Like I source out in farm country, but then like we have Norfolk, Virginia, which is not like the biggest city, but it's a military area. So a lot of people are moving in and out. So you find a lot of more yard sales that kind of stuff up there. But
Yeah.
One of those things.
Here, I really don't have to go more than probably 5 to 7 miles from my house, and I can hit sales all day long if I want to.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy when you think about that if you can just go out in a day and circle back and you're good to go, like versus having to like, oh man, trying to go. I've noticed like with you guys, even in the 411, I can tell you this, like Amber has an eye, man. Like when I was out there, like I always kind of observe other people how they pick and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're coming out with an armload of stuff. I was like, I hear you. With both feet on that thing.
Oh yeah, I like to take her to sales. We don't get to very much because of kids. One of us usually home with the kids.
Yeah.
But when she goes out with me, I'll overlook tons of things, and I'll turn around and she's got things that are selling $150, $200 a piece, and I don't buy them. Never gave them a second thought.
Like I found the 1970 something marbles card game at this barn sale. It had all vintage toys. That it was an estate sale. He had walked by that probably 5 times before I ever even went into the sale, which that means other people did too. And I picked it up and I was like, well, that's cool. And I took it home and like looked it up. And if we had the box and everything, it had sold for like $200, the card game. It was crazy. And he'd walked by it tons of times.
Yeah, my wife did that to me the other day at a estate sale. Like we're in there, and I'm, I always go through and I'm picking up stuff, and sometimes she'll show me stuff. I was like, whatever. So I come around the corner and she's got a record player in her hand, and I was like, where was that at? She was like, it's right back there on the table. And come to find out, it's like silver tone record player. It's like $130. I was like, oh, no big deal, Like here I am with an armload of like $15 items. And she's like, well, you tripped over this to get to that. There it is. Hey, so I knew this would come up, but Chris went ahead and threw the gauntlet down on you guys here. With, fighting words.
I think it's obviously me. I mean, I'm the one that got the check written to me.
For you guys that don't know, we went to the 411 and we were down there. Like I actually stayed a day later than some of the rest of the guys. We had our house on Sunday, and so having it through Sunday. So Saturday, these guys were in the barbecue cook-off there in town, and it was, Colton and Brandon obviously there competing. And so Brandon did take home the first prize, and Colton didn't even place. To which I saw Courtney marching up there to get that scorecard, saying, "What's going on?" I think she said you got the wrong first name on that thing. I don't know if I heard that.
Tried to say I snatched his barbecue box and took it up and turned it in.
Oh man. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's pretty good. So Tim says when they say barbecue, they mean barbecue. They don't mean grilling, right? Low and slow. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean barbecue. But like competition, we were hot and fast. We could 450, 500 degrees, but
yeah.
We cooked the pork butt in 4 hours.
Mm.
So, but when I'm cooking on my own smoker, I'm low and slow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, like we just got a little sampling of that stuff there on Friday night, and it's pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. I know. We just missed with everything going on, COVID stuff. Obviously, when I first was kind of talking with Colton and all those guys, and how we kind of got to know each other, Colton and myself, is he actually lived where I used to go to high school at. And but like I'm a little older than you guys, so like we were talking in a chat one day about where you're from in Florida, and I told him where I said, man, I went to high school in Freeport, and he's like, oh man, I lived down there. Like, so that's how we kind of got to know each other. And then we kind of chatted for a while, and then he was talking about how you guys were supposed to come here to the OBX, and then obviously COVID kind of put the kibosh on that thing. But I was like, man, I said that'd been cool. I said, so if you get out here, we'll treat you guys to some seafood. Then you hooked us up with some barbecue. But North Carolina's
this summer.
Yeah, North Carolina's one of those things too. Like Eastern North Carolina barbecue is a little different than other places, but everybody kind of has their own way of doing things. But yeah,
I'm a fan of the Carolina style barbecue with vinegar.
Yeah. Yeah, on y'all's way through, man, I'll have to shoot y'all an address when you get headed this direction. It's worth taking about a 30-minute detour, and there's a barbecue joint out in the country in the middle of nowhere. It looks like a silver Capitol building. It's in a place called Aden, North Carolina. But that place is bring cash and wait line, but you'll get there. Like, it's one of them things. We've had a few more people pop in the chat. Let's see. Mr. Bislot, Ron, thanks for coming in. Obviously, OSP's come in the house, and somebody else on this side. Rev Resale up here. Rev Resale says, hey, 2 of the biggest death piles on YouTube. And I know who he's referring to, the both of us.
He probably
appreciate it.
And it's not the video shows.
Yeah, we were joking about that's what I was saying. I said I've done drove twice over 10 hours to meet up. So I said let everybody know the OBX is open. So, we don't have mile-long yard sales, but I could take y'all to one estate sale. We'd probably get as much as what we did on those things. Yeah, one of those things. But I know there's a little bit of method to the madness with you guys in the death pile, because what were you telling me before we went on the air? Like yard sales for you guys.
Yeah, they're dried up pretty much now. Then we may have one here or there over the next couple of weeks, but the mass of them are gone. So my thinking is I've been building up all my nuts through the summer. During the wintertime, I'll sit out in my garage and list when I can't be out. Actually buying things, hopefully get most of it cleared out by spring, and then start it all over again.
You want to talk about death piles? I don't know if you've ever checked out Mr. Buys a Lot. Yeah. I think every reseller in here could go pick his place, and they still wouldn't touch half the items that are even unlisted in that place. Yeah, Mr. Buys a Lot, man. I think what was he saying? One day he's talking about having some crazy number of. He has over 150,000 items list, and he said he's probably got 5 times that sitting in the warehouse. So. Yeah. It's one of those things. What time is Brandon at work?
See, that's where you're going to run into your problem, because I'm working from home.
Oh.
Yeah, he works from home.
I mean, there's no need for no undercover sourcing trip, though. You want to come buy stuff, it's all for sale.
If the price is right, it can go, huh?
Every bit of it.
Yeah. OSP said Brian has Death Mountain. I'm the same way. People are always asking me. I said, "Man, do you collect anything?" I was like, "Nah, it's all for sale, man." Like it's. I said I collect it until it's gone. If it's something I like, I just price it a little higher so it'll stick around a little longer. But if somebody pays the price, one of those things for me.
Part of my problem too is I come from a long line of hoarders.
Oh yeah.
My grandma, she's straight up a hoarder. I mean, she's got sheds full stuff that ain't seen daylight since probably 1950. Piled up. I get it, honestly.
It's crazy. Rev said she got enough to list through 2 COVIDs in 1 winter. Look at you. Says, don't mind the noises coming from the garage. I think Brian comes in to, some people can take it one way or another. I always take it, man. I feel pretty good about my inventory after I look at Brian. Have 3 million items later out in the warehouse. I was like, he lives up to his name. He don't let it go astray, Mr. Bazelot. Yeah, it's he's actually not. I don't know how far are you guys from PA, from Pennsylvania.
From Western PA, I'm about 6 hours.
Yeah, I think Brian's about middle of the state. I'm not 100% on that, but yeah. So, in case you get another garage anytime soon, it needs some source. He's not too far away. Oh my goodness. Yeah, these guys are getting into it with that. Hey, so obviously we got you in here, and Colton, we all know, and you guys, I remember you when you first started popping in the chat with the Q gotta be kidding me. Because I was like, who is this guy? Because I hear you in there, and especially in Colton, sometimes I see you there talking a little smack. I'm like, man, who is this guy? And then, that's my brother. He's like, but obviously you guys being brothers. So do you ever call each other up, give each other a little, hey, I just sold this. I saw your video. Like any kind of competition going on there at all?
Oh yeah, he'll call me or I'll call him probably 4 or 5 times a day. Random stuff he sold or I found at a yard sale, things like that. I find a really good deal. I'll FaceTime him and let him know he can't find none of that down there and talk a little bit of smack. But
he went to one of his halls while he was in Alabama and took all of his inventory from the honey hole that he wanted to sell.
I cleared that shelf.
Cleared her out. So obviously, man, we have Jeremy and George in the house. What the hell? Thank you guys for popping in. They're talking about, I don't know if you saw their meetup. They went caving. Now, I told them that caving weren't big boy approved for me. They get this place called the Devil's Pinch. I said, buddy, it'd be more than a pinch for me. That'd be the devil's grave. I'd be stuck in that little hole. I saw them. We'd be one of those things. Gosh, it's crazy. But I know, that is one of the things I'm sure that's fun. I have other people I talk to about reselling that I know in life that actually talk about reselling. Like I got a buddy, Ken. So I know for you guys being brothers and obviously being competitive, I'm sure it's one of those things that kind of keeps you motivated at times.
It is. And he's helped me out tremendously when I'm out. If I don't know about something, I'll call him up and he can tell me to buy it or don't buy it. And usually tells me don't buy it, and I'll think about it for a few minutes, and I'll buy it anyway, and then regret it later. But
like the comic books and the records, and
I bought a whole bunch of records at an estate sale. Earlier in the day, went up to one. I didn't know anything about records, and they were offering them for like 2 cents a piece. So I called him up and I'm like, hey, should I get these? He's like, no, stay away from them. So I'm like, hang out with him. I go to the next sale and I end up buying probably 400 or 500 records out there. And I mean, they were trashed, but I didn't know any better. I'm like, I just saw Rev Resell's video where he picked up a whole bunch of records. So I was like, I'm going to give this a go. And I bought them. They all ended up to Goodwill.
Yeah, some of that stuff's tough. I mean, do you have, what would you say would be your worst buy you've had that you're like, oh man, that's just.
The worst buy I had would probably be a tie between those records that I bought, and then I bought a whole bunch of Avon collectible plates from an estate sale. So I didn't know any better, and I mean I didn't pay but $1 a piece for them, but even $1 a piece I couldn't get rid of the things.
Yeah,
3 at a yard sale for $5, and the rest went to Goodwill.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, I can't remember if I said hey to you, but obviously Sam's not here. Yeah, you know, for me, it's the same thing. Let me ask you this, because I've had this happen to me recently. Have you ever saw something, you went to a sale, you're like, man, that's just cool, I'm gonna buy it, and it may not turn out to be that great. I mean, maybe it's the records, but maybe it's something else. Like, I recently found like one of those items that I just looked at and said, dude, I've got to have that. And then I buy it and I look at it, I was like, ooh, I should have looked a little closer, because that's not what I thought it was. It wasn't as good as what I thought.
I mean, here about a month or so ago, I managed to buy like a 200-pound bag of scuba gear. And I'm out here in the middle of Indiana. Never been scuba diving, don't know nothing about scuba, but I bought the whole thing.
So have you got checking through it and been like, oh, that's probably not as good as what I thought, or are you just still waiting to see?
I think like the regulators I'll do all right on. There's like the big vest with the lead and everything in it to weigh you down. Probably should have left that, because it is full of lead, and they don't make very light lead.
Yeah.
So
how many can you shove in one of those regional boxes? Get it out. 4 pound weight.
It's all sewn together. So I mean, it wouldn't even first priority mail. Flat rate.
Oh man, that's terrible. I had man, Kat's on her way to Alabama. She's probably picking up some furniture or something. Kat, thanks for dropping in. She says she's driving. I'll tell you what I just bought. Okay, so me and Ken went to an auction. And man, the auction was cool. I was actually geeked on it. Like when I looked at the pictures, the stuff that was going to be in there. So they had Edison gramophones there, like phonograph, you know. And I'm like, man, I'm looking at those things. I was like, dude, that's just cool. I mean, I think it's cool because it had Edison on it, you know. And I'm like, dude, it says Thomas A. Edison right on it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, and it's the wood box, it's got everything in there. And I'm looking at that stuff and I'm going, man, that's cool. Like, I want to. So I get there to the auction. They didn't have one of those things. They had about 4 of them. They had 2 Victrolas, which is, you know, I'm into vintage electronics. Like, that's one of the things that I tend to buy. So I get there and I'm looking at that stuff, and I paid up a little bit. Like, it's still not overly expensive, but here's the problem. I had the preview. All I did was go around and like open the tops on all of them. And so the first one I went to buy, I ended up getting it for $60. I paid another 60 for the horn. I paid another 50 for the the wax tubes, the cylinders, right? But I'm looking on my phone, like those things sell $500-600, right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, I'm about 150 in, $500-600. I'll probably be in good shape. Plus, it's cool. Dude, I get that thing home and I open it up. Well, first thing I notice is one of the lids right there has like the wood separating. I was like, oh man, you know, that's good. Then I open it up and I pull the top of it up. So like, there's the top half of the phonograph. There's the bottom half. The bottom half didn't have nothing. Like, it's supposed to have some gears and stuff under there where you can put the crank in and turn it. Make it work. Yeah, and that thing is empty. Like, it's just the top. Like, oh my goodness! And then the horn. Yeah, Mr. Boslot, they did have cylinders and horns. I got the cylinders, some of them, but like I said, so I get home and then I look at the horn. The horn is just one piece of the thing. It doesn't have the whole piece that makes it connect. The thing that you have the needle or anything on it that can make it play. So essentially, I'm gonna have to part it out. I'm gonna have to clean it up. I have to take it all apart, and then hopefully I'll get my money back on all of it. But like, it's not what I thought it was. But dude, my eyes, you know, it's kind of like as a kid when my mom used to always say your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Like, when you put all that up there, can't really say that now because I think they match each other. But back then, put too much on your plate. I think that's exactly what I did. As I was like, oh man. So anybody wants to buy some parts of Edison, I'm your guy. Sean, thanks for stopping in. A fellow Tar Heel there. A fellow Death Pile builder. So we do thanks. So what would you say would have been your best flip so far? Like, have you found something that's just like real good?
Yeah, the best thing that I found is actually a fairly low dollar item. I was just able to get it in a big enough quantity where it's made me a fortune. And had it in some of my videos, but they're all like vintage Baywatch air fresheners for a car. And
I got you.
I was out actually working one day, and I'd stopped in this little hole in the wall place to use the bathroom. It was like I was out in the middle of nowhere, and went in there, and it's like an old car type shop, and you can tell it'd been open for probably 50 or 60 years. And as I was walking to the bathroom, I looked up and seen all these vintage air fresheners from that I remember seeing on the shelves when I was a little kid, Looney Tunes, Baywatch, things like that. And of course, it was an area where there was no cell phone service, so I couldn't scan anything or look anything up. But he had them priced at like 40 cents a piece at the time. So I loaded up probably 1,000, but I only got the Baywatch at that time. And brought them home, told Amber I just bought a bunch of air fresheners with girls in bikinis just to make her mad. She made fun of me, and I listed a couple of them. And when I first started, there was only me and one other seller that had them. And the price was, I was selling them things for like $20, $25 a piece. And then soon after, he started dropping his prices, and we got into a price a little bit because there's such a limited market. Even with two sellers, you've only got a certain amount of buyers. But we ended up, I'm at $5, and apparently that's below what he was willing to sell them for. So now I'm getting all the business at $5 a pop. I've probably got 600 or 700 left. When I went to ring them all up, I bought them all, and the shop owner said those have been sitting there since the 90s. I just want them gone. Not going to count them all up. Give me like $40 for all, 30 or $40 for all of them.
Yeah.
So $30 into it, and I've probably made $5,000 or $6,000 just off those air fresheners so far.
Yeah, I tell you, man, that's the thing, because a lot of guys will say, they'll come out and say, hey, I found this great item. But really, ideally, if you could find 2 or 3 items like that are just, hey, I've got so many of them, you can put it out, and it's, a continual go to your store. Like, how often do you think you sell those things now? Like,
I sell. It slowed back a little bit. Now it's starting to cool down a little bit, but I'm still selling at least 2 or 3 a week. That's pretty consistent. Usually when they buy them, they'll buy multiple of them too.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. If you can get on some stuff when it's in bulk, I've bought, obviously, if you guys watch my stuff, like, that I've had some bulk buys lately, but unfortunately, some of it's like multi-quantity, but you're talking like 4, 5, 6 items, like versus, like you said, if you've got hundreds of things that you can just keep popping them out. Now, let me ask you this. When you list those things, do you list that you have a stock of this many, or do you just trickle them in?
With those, I've been trickling them in. I want it to get down low to where it tells the buyer that there's only a few remaining or whatever, and then those will sell out, and I'll be relisted again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, these guys are talking in the chat. I don't know. Do you watch Tommy at all? Tommy Bernard. No slide on that. He's a late night guy, so like I don't watch him much because I'm usually asleep when he's on. But Tommy, they just did this thing with. He's actually been doing some eBay content about promoted listings, and I know this is something in the chat, like he was showing in his chat. I went back and watched the replay about promoted listings, about how it's about half the listings. I think he said 9 out of 20 are showing up in that search as promoted listings. Now, do you do anything with that? Do you do promoted listings or not?
I do, and I vary it up. Sometimes I'll I'll do like 1 or 2% across the board. Sometimes I'll do the trending rate plus 1 or 2. I just sort of vary it up. When I do listings, I always raise my prices up to match it so that I'm still making the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot more too than just we were talking, and I know Tommy brought it up in his thing how a lot of people I've heard kind of through the grapevine, like some people, and obviously being in all these chats and that kind of stuff, people talking about, hey, my sales are slow, hey, my sales are inconsistent. But man, after seeing that the other night with him, because I went through a while initially when I started eBay, green as grass, come in and I'm just like, oh, eBay says do this, I'm going to do that. I was kind of doing that. But I had good items that were selling anyway, like whether they're permitted or not. But there's categories that are so competitive. Like I was selling collectibles, like action figures that you go in, there'd be like 5 of them listed and 7 of them sold. Like they're going to sell. So that's what he was saying. He said, man, if it's a competitive market, then 9 out of 20 of those results are actually showing up as promoted. He done all kind of research in his show the other night, going through that stuff, and I was like, man, that's really. And the other person I talked to about this thing was, I do the Tuesday listing. So Uncle B was in there. I still call him Uncle B. It's old school flips now, but Jimmy was talking about how he does it. And he said he don't care because he's going to build it when it costs one. And he said, man, if I'm selling versus not selling, then why not pay that little bit extra to sell it rather than hold it on the shelf? So how do you determine what you're going to, like percentage wise? Do you go in and look, say this is more competitive, I need to put more, or how do you do it?
I do. If it's something that I know the market's really saturated in, then of course I'd bump it up a little bit higher. Typically when I do the promoted listings, I'll have a baseline. I'll do a mass edit for all of my listings at like 1 or 2%, and then I'll go in on the more highly saturated ones and I'll adjust it. And usually I do trending rate plus 1 or 2%. Sometimes I'll go a little bit higher, just depending on how competitive the market is.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I think, hey, Kat, I appreciate the super chat, and I went back and watched the replay, Tommy, of your stuff about that. And after talking with Uncle B, and I'd already went in and shifted mine. I didn't do like what you said. I just went in and got the 4 on everything. But now I feel like it's made me decide to, hey, I need to get a little bit more aggressive about how I'm going after that thing. And like you said, Brandon, great advice. If you build that into the cost, like a lot of us will run sales or we'll send an offer. Like for me, I'm usually bumping about 10% above what people got it listed anyway, because I know if I'm going to send an offer out, I may send 12, 13%, something like 14% back to the customer, to the person watching it. But yeah, it is. It's one of those things. Hey, I did want to let some of these guys know, just because I know some of y'all popped in a little later. Sam does send his apologies. He called me before the show, and he's got some family stuff going on that weren't able to be a part of this tonight. And he does obviously appreciate you guys. You can send him some love, shoot him a message, but there's nothing going on with Ezra, nothing going on with Christina. All that's good, but it's just some extended family stuff. So that's why he's not here, just to give y'all a heads up. Y'all that popped in a little later, because I know we'll probably get that question at some point, where's Sam? But Brandon, that is something for us that we look at and say, we can't just fly by the seat of your pants and expect to make money like this is a business, right? Like you got to be a little calculated in what you're doing.
You definitely do.
So when you're listing, are you do you have certain categories that you're looking at and saying, man, I may kind of stay away from that because it's so saturated, or how do you work that?
Yeah, like clothing, I stay away from on eBay. The only exception is I bought LuLaRoe in bulk, brand new with tags. I bought 2 different consultants out this year. So I've probably got close to 1,000 LuLaRoe items. But Amber's all that on my car. She likes to deal with clothes. I don't. And plus on eBay, I'm sure anybody in here that deals with clothes knows that it's higher return rate than other categories. One thing that I like to stay away from too, which probably isn't very smart of me business wise, but like higher end electronics, things like that, because there's so many scammers out there, I just don't want
Yeah.
to end up with that money.
You know, I do a lot of electronics myself, and what I see is returns, man. I see more returns on electronics than any other category that I sell in, for sure. But and it's one of them things. Hey, Danica, thank you for the super chat train, and Mr. Bazelot, thank you for jumping on board with that. Appreciate it. You know, you guys, not required, but definitely appreciate it. So we do thank you guys for the super chats. I think it's so crucial though too. Like, you know, obviously, I know you have a full-time job. You know, this is something you're doing part-time. So, what are you thinking down the road with reselling? Like, is this something that you're like, hey, maybe when I retire, this might be the deal, or you just?
As of now, I like to just do it part-time, just because it's still fun to me. If it starts feeling like another full-time job, I'll scale it back.
Yeah.
Like I said at the start, I mainly got into this because I love to barbecue. So it's basically a way for me to fund all of that. Saving up for a smoker that's like $10,000 right now. That's my goal.
So are you gonna hit the circuit after that? Are you start competing, or what are you doing?
I am going to start competing pretty regular. And then retirement wise, my goal is to have like a food truck with barbecue.
There you
go. But I plan on reselling all the way up through there. Just sort of a supplement. I would personally go crazy if I did it full time like Colton. Where I've got to be on a regiment where I've got to get out and list a certain amount. What these full time guys do, worrying about paying the bills, all that good stuff. I've got a good paying full time job, so this is basically just extra fun time for me. I like the thrill of the treasure hunt.
Yeah, for sure, man. It is. It's one of those things. You know, I'm a foodie myself. Like I love, you know, that kind of stuff. So, guys, when you're thinking of smoking flips, like in about how long you got before you retire?
Earliest is about 15 years from now.
Okay. So in 15 years, when you see this joker up on the Food Network with his food truck, like flipping barbecue at one of them competitions, you'll be like, hey, I knew that guy back in the YouTube days. But I can tell you the barbecue's good. There ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt. I'm seeing what if I missed anything over in the chat. One thing, man, without Sam here, buddy, I tend to lose it on that side. Try to stay away from clothes. 20 vintage Harley Davidson shirts. Yeah, I wouldn't walk away from them. That's for sure. Let's see.
Harley Davidson, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all saw his video, but he had bought some Harley Davidson motorcycle pots when he was up here. And I was at the yard sale with him, and I was about to make a deal on him, and then he come up behind me. I was looking at something else, and I heard him ask her. And she offered him to him for $20. If he hadn't taken them, I would have. Pretty much anything Harley Davidson, I've always made money off of. So
I heard something, I think, on his video where he's talking about having to put them on the wall because they're such a bad buy.
Yeah, pipes I wouldn't buy now that I know what I know, but so I was about to buy them.
Hey, I can tell you this. Now, this is, you know, bad on me, but dude, I've got a whole tote of Harley Davidson parts, odds and ends that I just hadn't done the research on, that I picked up from the 127. It's sitting under my desk in the shed, and I'm always looking. But there's a guy I've got at a estate sale. He's into Harley parts, so I'm thinking, like, I've been waiting for him to score a big deal at one of them sales and be like, hey, man, you want to work out a trade? Like, I'll hook you up with these parts. You hook me up with something. Because I honestly don't want to research them. Because I'm like, man, I don't know what half that stuff is. It's like, this guy said, oh, it's this and that. I was like, dude, I don't see a part number on it. It's like parts out of the box. Like, they're not, ain't got the code. I'm just looking like, but one of those things. But yeah, I'm a Harley. If you got some Harley, that is the clothing exception for me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about shoes? Do you mess with shoes or no?
I'll buy the shoes that Amber's told me to buy, which are mainly the Converses and the Vans. She's got on to me because I've been buying too many of them, and apparently my judge of quality isn't the same as hers. But those are pretty much the only shoes I'll mess with unless it's something that I can tell are high dollar. Certain boots, things like that, I'll buy. Things that I have knowledge of, but for the most part, like regular tennis shoes.
For me, man. Yeah. Those are the only clothes I really mess with, like shoes and hats. Like I'll do shoes and hats. Tank, man, if he's still in here, like Cernock, like I said, he got me turned on that hat game. So I've actually sold quite a few hats, and I find them everywhere.
Oh, I've got
the old farm.
I've got probably 600 hats I bought here over the last few weeks. Gotta get listed.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna jump on the Grail train with some of them hats, man. Like that's what those guys. I set up my account, and I'm looking to do the list perfectly thing and move some over there. So, do you cross list anything at all? I mean, obviously you guys have Macquarie. So do you list on both platforms some items or no?
Not really, no. Just because I know that the way our schedules are, that we'll sell something on one and I'll forget to take it off, and then finding myself in a pickle.
Yeah, it's that's what I've always been nervous about. You know, it's funny because I talked with Tim over the years, and Tim, he's like Cernock, man. These guys are like on multiple platforms. And Tim, I was like, man, one night we were talking in a chat, and I was like, yeah. I said, there's nothing better than waking up the next day and looking at your phone and be like, man, check this out. I'm making money while I'm sleeping. You know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And Tim's like, dude, he said, not if you're me. He said, I wake up in a cold sweat. I'm looking at the thing. He said, please don't be double sold. Like, that's what he's talking about. I said, dude, I don't need that extra stress. But I think that's the thing. Dante, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you coming in. So he's another guy that's on the grind with all that stuff. But so guys, if y'all have any questions for Brandon, feel free to drop them in the chat. Backroad Bitter Chuck, thanks for being here. Appreciate you coming in. We just in here talking about some reselling and barbecue and meetups and the whole bit. You know, it is funny. We didn't find out that, man, you can peel out in a minivan. We saw that at the 411. You can cut right across that grass. We were street, but we did. We had a
kid car. I would have done some donuts out there too.
Oh man, that fella. One of those things.
I'm a pretty even kill guy. It takes a lot to make me real mad at somebody, but that guy pressed my buttons.
Yeah. I weren't even in. Like when I saw you guys, and for you guys that don't know what we're talking about, man, you can go back and watch like multiple videos of the 411 through OSB or Resell or Brandon or, you know, Colton. All those guys have out stuff about that. Mine, I just so far the only 411 video I have out is apple picking because I had a camera malfunction as usual. Like all my 411 footage is in super fast footage. So I don't know how to back it down. It's like everybody's speaking in chipmonkeys. But we were out at this sale and this dude rolls up on the lawnmower threatening to, I don't know what he was doing to you guys, like get off my lawn kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I saw that. I just kind of stayed on the gravel. But when I got out of the car, that guy was letting them have it. That's for sure. So,
I mean, you're going to grab at me and ask me to move off your yard. Don't get mad at how I get off your yard.
Yeah. Chris does have a little footage of me walking up behind that guy and him taking off. But I was like, I don't know what he's got going on. I told him, I think that guy that ran that yard sale back there around that dude is I think he just did that to tick the neighbors off.
I'm sure he did.
Let me have a yard sale. He's going to come back here and park on his grass. But yeah.
I mean, guy's grass wasn't even that nice.
Nah.
I could see if your lawn is immaculate that's around your house. This was a field that had been bush hogged.
I tell you what's funny is, so then we leave that sale and go to the very next sale, and you got, like, I think Colton described him as the NASCAR Joe Dirt out there, and he's like, "Y'all come on, like, got you all up on the grass." So I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty wild." So one of those things we look at. So, man, what's some advice you would give other resellers about what you've learned? Anything in particular, or generic, or whatever you?
My advice would be just to find a group of people like what we've got here on YouTube. Soak in all the advice you can. Get out there. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Lord knows I've taken truckloads of stuff I've bought to the Goodwill. Don't make sure you don't overpay. Get emotional on the buy.
Yeah.
Pay more than what it's worth. If the deal's not right, don't be afraid to walk away from it.
Yeah, no doubt. Foot on grass, it's game over. Yeah. Well, Tommy, we were in Alabama, man. It was like we're in these dudes' backyard out there. They're like, we're just following them. Park on the grass. Yeah. It is great advice, because do you ever have the temptation? I know I do, of, like, especially if you've not had the greatest day picking, that you're like, dude, I got to get something. I got to come home with something. Like, I can't go out of here. I used to be real bad about that when I first started. I was like, I got to find something before I leave this place.
Yeah, I did that right after COVID lifted.
Yeah.
Still started coming up just because I was so anxious to get out and start buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did a mission every yard sale I went to. I was going to buy stuff, but I've learned don't be afraid to walk away.
Yeah. I tell you, that's the thing with me. Like, I went to that antique auction, but as far as me, gosh, Ray, like, auctions for me aren't good. Like, because I get competitive in there, man. Like, I'm like, especially if I really like, if it's something I'm looking at it, and I was like, the smart guys, they have their list in there, and they know what it is, and they know the most they're going to pay. But guys like myself, I get in there, I'll get sucked in. I end up paying a little extra on that Edison stuff, because I was like, man, I got sucked in. I was just like, dude, I want that. Like, I want to go home with it. So,
I'm terrible at options.
Yeah.
I'll show you an example right here. I don't know if y'all saw this on Commonwealth Pickers page, but I paid $145 for this little stuffed animal.
Woo!
Because I decided it was coming to my house.
Oh.
Competitive is real.
Yeah, it is, man. That's why they do that stuff. The auctions. Grass is way over the top there. Man, yeah, so we got in that thing there. Like, some of those auctions, when I get on, I'm like, I'll see stuff that it is cool, but I'm like, man, I'm gonna pass. But then, like, certain things, I feel that pressure too. Like, especially at an auction, like, dude, I just sit here for like 2 hours. I'm gonna buy something. I'm not gonna do that. It's a little different if it's online. Do you source any online at all, or no?
I do occasionally. Back when the state was shut down, there was an online auction house 5 miles up the road from me. So that's where I did pretty much all my sourcing during the spring. And it wasn't uncommon for a couple grand every time they had an auction. I just buying junk. But I try not to unless I like to actually look at the stuff, because I ended up with a bunch of junk.
Yeah, I did a high bid one, like, in the midst of COVID myself, where you go pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And man, thankfully, I mean, I did find some stuff. I got a bunch of stuff, and then you know, in the beginning, like especially during that time frame too, like you don't want. I mean, I don't like getting rid of stuff. Like I'm like, dude, I've already bought it. Like you know, I'm invested to a point, but then as I got a little bit more serious about what was going on with this, like you know, I do use it as a major part of my income. I have other incomes coming in, but this is now is probably my number one. So I can't like time is money on a lot of that stuff. Like, dude, if it takes you forever and the profit ain't there, like you got to make a certain amount of hour like to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And you know, somebody said profits, not projects. Like you kind of there's gotta be a balance. If the project ain't worth the profit, then you need to walk away. So definitely one of those things. So was that on Kevin's when they were doing the fundraising auction that you got that?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the only reason that Amber didn't kill me when I spent $145 on it.
Yeah. You got by with that one because you're like, yeah. Nikki T said, "What's your unicorn item? The one thing that you, if you find, you may or may not sell it, or just something maybe you want to find."
Mm-hmm. Pretty much Alabama stuff's mine. Once I get it, it's here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a sin for me to sell Alabama stuff once I bought it.
So when you see the Alabama stuff, that's pretty much an automatic buy. Unless
Alabama stuff and then certain barbecue type stuff.
Yeah.
Then I buy it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, you know, that we you know, for me, unicorn item, I've really not, man, there's nothing that I've really, I mean, there's some stuff I think it'd be cool to find in the wild, like what is it, the Sega, is it the Jaguar that's the one that's so valuable video game system, that'd be cool to find, but you know, you just don't see it. Like I had somebody told me they had one, and then I went and looked at it, and they weren't one. It was actually some cheap game system that weren't even that. But that would be one for me. But never seen it. Marie says, "I'm the one person you do not follow during yard sale season. She makes everybody cuss." Okay. Harry Humstone said, "Beer cans is a unicorn." Okay. So, one of those things. Harry, man, I actually thought of you at that auction the other day. They had these Civil War beer bottles there, but that weren't yeah, I couldn't touch them. Those guys, and I drive on lawns. He said. Yeah, one of those things. So, what about the YouTube thing then? Are you? I mean, obviously, I know you hit 250. By the way, guys, if you're not subscribed to Smoking Flips, his link is down below in the description of this video. Make sure you're subscribed before you leave out of here. Appreciate that for sure. But you know, I know everybody has their own reasons with YouTube. So what was your thought process in getting involved in that? And, you know, do you have any goals for that, or you just kind
of? Well, with YouTube, even up to probably 2 or 3 weeks before I started my channel, I actually did a live on Colton's show that I really didn't want to do. I mean, he just made the thumbnail and announced to the world I was going to be on there, so I sort of stuck. But I did it, and he asked me during that show if I planned to do a YouTube channel. I was like, absolutely not. I don't have time because I'm looking at my death pile and full-time job and kids and everything. But that sort of planted a seed. And I was watching other people on YouTube going out to these garage sales that really weren't very good finds. They're in areas where they're slacking for inventory and stuff, and I'm buying stuff by the truckload. Like every yard sale I go to almost seemed like a gold mine there for a while. So I was like, well, I might as well share this with everybody. And I started it, did my first video, and thought it was a lot of fun. It's fun for me to make the videos. So I guess I'm in it for the long haul now. With my channel, I'm not ever going to be to the point where I can do daily videos or anything like that, just because of my other commitments. But it's fun to do them when I can come across stuff. Just to share that with everybody.
Yeah, it's good, man. Like I watch a ton of people that across the board, really. Like when I get looking at YouTube, it's crazy. Like when I first got into the reselling side of YouTube, I basically watch, like I hear Rev talk about it all the time, that like the Godfathers, the Mount Rushmore. Like I used to watch all those guys that, the guys that have been doing it for a while. Like when you talk about like Cincinnati Picker and Craigslist Hunter and all those guys, when I first started watching the eBay side of it, YouTube. Before that, I was watching the guys that YouTube is their business, not necessarily reselling, but they use reselling as a way to talk to people about stuff. So, I was doing that a little while, and then I was like, wait a minute, I never really see these guys selling much anything. Like they talk a lot about how to sell something. But then I started watching, those guys. And really, like Lonnie, John, like all those, part-time picker, like all that. And then it kind of fell in the rabbit hole, right? Like now I'm watching all kinds of people. But anymore, honestly, I mostly watch us. Like I watch guys that, a lot of the people here in the chat, like people that I see within the community, guests that we've had on our show, like things that I tend to gravitate more to that. And I learn as much from guys that are just like me as I do anybody, to be honest, because you do learn what sells. You do learn things that you look and say, man. Now, for some more technical side of it, I was thankful the other day, man, when I popped in and saw, that Tommy was talking about the whole promoted listing stuff, because not a lot of people talk about that kind of stuff. And if they are, sometimes it's people that I don't necessarily trust as much, because I'm like, dude, when you got like 50 courses for sale on this, like, I don't know, should I like find out about this or not? But I enjoy our community. So it's really, for me, like, I mean, obviously you guys are a part of that as well. Getting to hang out, meet y'all. Papa Sticks is in the chat, just popped in. Man, we got the opportunity to hang out with him and meet him when we did our meetup. So you think about what it brings to the table. So, by you being able to share your experience as well, it not only helps you, it helps other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much for me, the YouTubers I like to watch are pretty much smaller channels. Pretty much the main ones I watch are Rev and Resell. Commonwealth Picker is probably the biggest channel that I watch.
Yeah.
Colton's, watch yours, watch Old School Picker. And then I'll occasionally watch other people. I like to pop in the chats. If I see a link, I'll click on it and I'll subscribe and then watch those videos when they pop up. But just time-wise, I don't have time to watch everybody's video every day, to be honest.
Nah, that's what happens.
But I like the smaller channels myself because I can relate to you guys more. You're pretty much doing the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
You're not on there trying to sell me something every time I watch your channel either.
No, we try not to, man. Try not to get into any of that stuff.
I mean, I clicked on one video when I first started getting a little bit more serious into reselling. It's like, buy my course here for $99.99 and I'll teach you everything.
Yeah.
I'll pay that when I click over here and watch it for free.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's one of those things, I honestly, though, I don't really fault people as long as they're legit about what they're doing. And there's some resellers that are legit about it. Like that, but there's more that aren't than are. Like there's some people that I value the information. Like, I mean, I've got a couple of people I'm following right now that are bigger because they're further down the road than me. I do look at that, and but I also honestly I like people that I like. It's one of those things. Like I like supporting people that I like. It comes down to that. Like Tommy's saying, Commonwealth is amazing all the way around. He is. Like, he's another guy. I didn't mention him before, but, he was kind of, for me, that's kind of like the next tier down, the closer I got to smaller channels. But Commonwealth, man, what a great guy! Like he's reached out to me on numerous occasions. Like I've shot him questions, and he's I'm in the cult. I've got my Fleet in a Man right up here on the shelf, but I do, like Tommy said, teacher, parent, just all around good guy. So I want to support those guys, and he's been doing it a long time too. He's got a lot of knowledge, so that's what you long to share with other people. I know for myself, I just try to be the same, like I'm going to share my wins. I'm going to share my L's. Like, hey, I bought this. It's terrible. Like, don't buy this, or, hey, this is something stupid that I did. Hey, hopefully if you're listening to this, that you won't go down that same road.
Yeah. And honestly, those are the type videos that I like to watch the best when people say, don't do this.
Yeah.
I would love to learn from your mistakes and myself.
That's
I'm my fair share of them, and I'm going to put every one of them on my channel as well. I can save somebody some headache down the road. It's worth it for me.
It's funny for me sometimes. Like I have some stuff that I end up leaving in videos because I'm like, dude, I might as well just leave it in, even though I screwed that up. Because I was like, people most of the time are like, oh, you're not you're not got an infomercial on here. You just got that. Hey, I do want to thank Leroy for the super chat. Leroy, thank you for coming in. Hey, the other thing I wanted to put out to all the guys in the chat, next week we're doing the reseller roundtable rapid fire. So, man, if you've not been on the show and you want to come and be a part, we'd love to do. We got a couple spots open. If any of you guys want to come on next week, you're welcome to do so. But I did want to throw that out there. I know we're pushed a little bit. So I'm kind of going to put out, if you guys have any other questions for Brandon, obviously Amber, they've got kids, so they've got all kinds of other responsibilities. Now, one of the things I was going to ask you as well is, so how does it work with your work? Is your work like a set schedule, or are you working random hours at random times? So,
yeah, my work for the most part, like I pretty much make my own hours within the day. I've just got to get a certain amount of hours per pay period.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, I got to do 80 hours.
I gotcha.
My job has a ton of flexibility. Right now with COVID, a little bit even more so because I'm at home all the time versus out traveling around.
Yeah.
So that's been a big help to me reselling wise. So if I need to shift some things around, be able to go to a yard sale in the middle of the day, just work a few extra hours in the afternoon, I can do that. So I'm extremely blessed with that on that side of it. It's not like I'm working a 9 to 5 every single day and I'm stuck at that 9 to 5 all day.
So outside of COVID, like, is your schedule flexible like that as well, or no?
It is flexible, but like I have a lot more drive time, a lot more set appointments during the day.
Yeah.
So I've got to be able, I schedule those appointments and try to do it to where I can maximize my efficiency. But I mean, I cover from Indianapolis down to Kentucky for my job.
Gotcha.
So I'm all over the place.
Gotcha. Yeah, these guys. Yeah, Sean has the at-home thing right now. He actually works social work. Hold on. So, yeah, I know for me, like getting into reselling, when you look at that and say, well, how do you squeeze it in? I think you touched on it earlier. You kind of got to love it, right? Like you gotta love the treasure hunt. There's got to be something about it that gets you to keep going back to it. So I know, outside of that, most people just kick up if they've got another job. But some of the best resellers I've seen are guys that are part-time, like really. I know
if I was a reseller, I would be completely worthless.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be walking to my recliner in the morning, sitting down, turning on YouTube, watching all these YouTubers, maybe list 1 or 2 things a day, and starve to death. I mean, that's all there is to it.
It's tough, man. Like you got to be driven. You honestly, like I put out that thing about the Tuesday like listing challenge, and I know for me, what that's done for me is it makes me list. Like it makes me do it. And then I'm like I've done told you guys, I'm competitive about stuff. So like I'm not gonna go in there and list 10 or 15 things in that listing challenge. Like I'm gonna hammer out at least 50 or 60 while we're there. Like that's just how it's gonna go down. Like I can't do any less. But then I look at, but then I'm challenged by other people, man. There's a dude I follow on Instagram and stuff and Facebook. His name is Tech and Sports. And man, if you've ever seen that dude, like now he does a lot of clothing. He actually has people buying clothing all over the place. Dude's listing now he has help, but he was listing by himself over 100 items a day.
Wow.
Like 100, 140 items a day. I'm like, bro, you like next level stuff. But now he's got people buying this clothing, washing it, having it in bags, dropping it off at his house. Like that's or at his warehouse now. But I'm like, yeah, but that kind of for me, that's the double-edged sword, right? Because if you lose the thrill of the hunt, like Danica's talking about, yeah, I don't know, man. To me, it might just be a job at that point, right?
Yeah. Burnout's a very real thing.
So, no doubt. Hey, Wendy, thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah. OSP says Colton already in bed, I bet. Man, it's what is it, 8:30 his time?
Yeah, it's late for him.
Yeah. The sun's down, man. He's out. Those things. Well, guys, if y'all have any further questions for Brandon, we'll give a chance. But if not, we're gonna go ahead and start to close this thing down. I know we got like I said, we have gone through some stuff. Give people a couple minutes on that. So, Brandon, you got any final thoughts? You got anything coming up with YouTube or anything you're going to be putting out with that?
I still got footage from the 2 days of yard sales when Colton was up here last weekend. I've got to edit and put up. Do have a giveaway going on right now for my 250 subs. So if you're, like you said earlier, if you're not subscribed, go over, check it out. Leave a comment and current video that's down. It's a what sold video. And then November 1st, we'll be drawing for $50 prize on that. So make sure you do that. Pretty much everything I got.
Yeah. Guys, I know Sean and those guys are some of OSP. I think I've dropped his link in the chat. We do have another question coming in, but make sure you're subscribed to Smoking Flips and pick up that. Louis asked, when are you going to have a YouTube challenge with Colton? Not sure what kind of YouTube challenge he's talking about. Do what?
I said that's one that he would beat me at, so I'm not in any rush to get into that challenge. I try only to challenge him with stuff that I know I can win, like barbecue.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, hey, you could probably beat him in yard sale season.
You put us on an even field. He's one that'll get out and he'll buy everything out from under me while I'm still trying to figure out if I want it or not.
Yeah.
He did that to me a few times down there at 411.
I saw that in them videos, man. If he catch you with your back turned, he'd be down there and got it.
Mm-hmm.
Say all's fair in picking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Picking with family anyway. Yeah. We man, it's funny for me, like traveling with you guys and kind of watching y'all interact like that and seeing. I was definitely seeing Colton. I was like, "Dang, Colton, this is your hometown. Like, man, you just rode in there and scooped this stuff on your brother like that." Like, I was like,
I left the first day that it was just me and him out there that Thursday, and there was that little guitar thing that he had that he sold. I went out there and I had my back turned to it and I was looking it up. It was like a Suzuki something. And I seen it sold for pretty good money. So then I hear Courtney come up behind me and say, what is that? It's a Suzuki. Look it up. As soon as she said that, I turned around and just snatched it right out from under him. That set the tone for the weekend. He made me pay for it the rest of the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The thing is, I just did that to be funny. I really didn't even want the thing because I didn't want to ship it. But that set the tone.
Dude, I saw that where he bought the trolling motor up there where you at.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my goodness. Out there weed whacking in the yard of that trolling motor. That was one of those things. So no luck selling that before he left. He's like, I'm gonna try to sell it before I leave.
No, he took that with him.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, I said, man, I think I would see if Brandon shipped that for me if I sold it. Hey, I'll cut you in if you pay for the shipping.
It was his.
One of those things. Oh gosh.
I really would have, but he loaded up in the van just fine, so he can take it.
Yeah, I noticed he upgraded because I was like, bro, you can fit all that stuff in that little car you driving. For sure.
He came up here a year ago. It was back before I even got back into reselling. And so it's him, his whole family. Then my grandmother rode with him. So they're all packed in like sardines in that little Kia he's got. And he's up here, and we just so happen to be having a community yard sale here in my neighborhood. They had only came up here because we just had our dollar, and so they're coming up to meet her. And he's out here buying freaking like huge grape presses, and he had my grandma's knees up to her face in the backseat of the car, full completely lined, throwing his pillows out in my garbage can because he didn't have room for his pillows to go back with.
Oh my goodness.
He can pack it.
It's funny. Suiting in on them Furbies for sure. Yeah, I'd send him that message. I said, Colton gonna need a trailer hitch. So when I saw that picture of y'all in the thrift store, I was like, Colton gonna need a trailer hitch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's funny, man. I laugh when I see that the whole thing. I tell you who else can pack it if they're still in here. I thought I just saw them. Rev and Nikki T, man, that little car they drive. How in the world got on them kids holding stuff on the way home?
I'll do that myself.
That's like
a short guy. I mean, he's got to take up quite a bit of leg room.
Yeah. Dude, I could have put that little car and put it in the back of my minivan. Well, it's Out Country Sales. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, that's a good time, man. Like I said, if y'all get out to the Outer Banks, like I done told Colton and those guys, feel free to hit me up. I'll actually take you somewhere. I might even let you buy something. No.
We'll get past the death pile.
Add it to the death pile. Nikki D said got the kids riding on top. Yeah, that's a good time. Fourth quarter is a third over. 2/3 left. Yeah, it's getting there. We'll see how it goes. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and wind this thing down. So I appreciate, Brandon and Amber for being with us this evening. Obviously, like I said, check out their channel. They do have some cool content, picking stuff up. We got the firsthand experience at the 411. We do, it was great to get to meet these guys in person. They're a great family. And same as, what I said about all the guys. And, I know everybody's kind of echoed that same thing. The people that were there at the 411 with us that we met up with are the same people, same personalities, the way you see on YouTube is the same as what you see in life. So, these are genuine guys. We see that. And, we appreciate you guys being a part of the community. Appreciate y'all supporting the channel, all of y'all that are in here, and obviously supporting Brandon and these guys too as they start this journey out. Don't forget, man, go in. He's got a giveaway going. Go in and watch some of them videos. Drop some comments. Get involved with that. So we do. Nikki T # fun size resellers. So we, yeah. Thrift V said you should have saw Brandon loading the van after the 411. Yeah.
That's Amber's mom. We actually stayed with her. She sat out watching me. It's like a Tetris game back there.
I got you, man. We the same. Well, I brought the. I've learned now, dude. I got a trailer hitch, so I'll go to U-Haul in a minute if I need to put more in there. So I actually bought that furniture out there that last day. You guys missed all that, but I was out at the that storage unit that you see in Colton's videos all the time. And it seemed like about everybody had a sale going on out of that place. But ended up buying a bunch of like 3 things of antique furniture. So I haven't sold any yet, but we're getting it. It's on. Like I've got the chairs up, so we'll see what happens with the rest. One of those things. But yeah, we appreciate all you guys for being here. As far as us, like I said before, Sam ain't here tonight. Had some family stuff coming up. But then also, man, pop in there on Sam. If you're not subscribed to Sam the Dapper Tiger, please do so, man. He's pushing up on that 1K. I think he's up about 930-ish. But he's moving on up on that. So show him some love as well. And as far as us in next week we do have the Reseller Roundtable Rapid Fire. I did receive a message from one other person, so we do have another spot left for that if anybody wants to jump in on that. But we thank you guys for coming on, and obviously thank Brandon and Amber for being here. Appreciate you guys agreeing to come on here, and looking forward to seeing where things take you with reselling, YouTube, that whole thing. And other than that, thank you for all the guys that were here this evening, and obviously for y'all's support. Y'all have a good weekend. Good luck out there picking tomorrow. Hopefully y'all find some awesome deals, and maybe y'all can get it listed and sell some stuff. That's what the ultimate goal is. All right, y'all. Have a good evening.